Hola, ciao, cześć, salam, shlam alochon, and hello. Welcome to Chicago, a multicultural and world-class city. My name is Sharokina. I'm the owner of Events by Sharokina, and thank you so much for the opportunity for me to tell you about how great my new and innovative company is, as well as why we would be perfect for whose wedding is it anyway. Now that I've introduced you to Events by Sharokina, I'd also like to introduce you to Jennifer Renaud, our lead designer.
Hi, my name's Jennifer Renaud, and I'm the lead designer for Events by Sharokina, and I'm so excited for this opportunity.
You know, we could do the rest of this interview here, but...
That's right, but...
Why would we do it on the couch? That's kind of boring.
It is.
We don't want to make you sit through that. So why don't we do this? Hey, you know, I have a great idea. Let's show them what Chicago's all about.
All right.
Let's go.
It'll
be so much fun. I first got started in the business about 7 years ago when I was asked to do a wedding for a family friend. Really got me turned on to the business, really got to see the excitement. I was basically asked because I had such great organizational skills, and really just my passion developed from there. After I got engaged, I really was able to see the perspective not only from the planner side but also the bride side. And the cool thing about that was I was able to get both perspectives. One thing that I learned was that I had a lot of issues with some vendors that came up. There were some great vendors I worked with and some not so great vendors. And I just remember thinking I would never ever want another bride to have to go through what I just went through. So I said, you know, I really need to take my business full force. So we really started going after it, and it's doing great. We're doing really well. My style is really being detail oriented. The reason being, not only because that's just how I am, but also I've realized that a lot of photographers these days are into the photojournalistic aspect of it, and they're really capturing a lot of detailed shots of, you know, the tables, the invitations, the way things are set up, and I would hate to have a bride look back at her pictures and see something that didn't look right. Also, I really love a lot of color. I love it when a bride comes to me and says, I want to do something different. You know, I want some color. I want something different than the regular, you know, white bouquets or the white tablecloths, something different.
Hey, it's Jennifer, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about my style that I like to incorporate in all the weddings that I plan. I always love to incorporate lots of colors and lighting and nice fabrics and floral. And regardless if they have a small budget or a high budget, I always give them what they want because I just know how to pull that unique twist around any type of style that the bride and groom want.
I've planned 8 weddings to date, but I'm really still excited because it's still booking season. So I've got calls coming in, I've got appointments, so go Events by Sharokina. I've got a perfect story. Everyone knows how the bridal dress is one of the biggest focal points of the day. And I had a bride that played by the rules, did everything she needed to do. Unfortunately, fate just wasn't on her side. What ended up happening was she was losing a lot of weight for her wedding. She got a dress that was the size that she originally started with. The dress came in, it was a little too big, we had to get the seamstress to alter it. She went with the store seamstress. The problem was that the seamstress made the dress a little bit too tight and it was too close to the wedding to be able to go back. I calmed down the bride at one of the fittings, went to the bridal manager and said, what can we do? Is there any way we can fix it? Is there extra material? And they were not willing to work. And I knew my bride was on a tight deadline, and the last thing a bride needs right before her wedding is a messed up dress that she doesn't feel radiant and glowing in. So what I said was, is there any other dress, if we're not going to change the material, that you have in your salon that we can substitute or we can work on a price or anything? And they were unwilling to budge. So I went back to the bride, calmed her down, said, you know, let's just leave, take it off, and we'll go out to a coffee shop. Went out to a coffee shop, she was hysterical, we were talking, and I basically said, what do you want to do from here? My suggestion is if they don't want to work with you, and you just don't want to wear the dress, I have a few connections I can call, I can work something that's still within your budget because we saved you a little bit of money earlier, and we can get you the perfect dress, I promise. So I called up my vendor the next morning and said, you know, I have a bride, this is the situation, brought her in, they were perfect with her, they calmed her down, they got her in a dress that was even more gorgeous, if that's even possible, than the first dress, and they were able to get it to her by the next day. We're planning a lot of great weddings right now, which I'm so excited to tell you about. We're doing a Polish-American wedding, which is really great because we're able to really encompass a lot of the great Polish traditions, infuse them together with some great American traditions, and it's just going to be fantastic. We're doing another Serbian wedding, Serbian-American, which is going to be really great, again, because the same thing. We've got Serbian bride and we've got an American groom. So it'll be really exciting to see how that wedding unfolds. And I want to let Jennifer tell you just a little bit about some of the design that she's been working on for some of these brides.
So Sharokina mentioned that we're doing a Polish-American traditional wedding, which I think is great. One of the traditions is for the bride's mother to give her daughter an apron with babies all on it to represent how many children she's going to have after she's married. And we're going to incorporate the colors on the apron that she's going to be using during the reception.
One of the unique, unusual weddings that comes to mind is a Middle Eastern wedding that we just got done doing. It was very fun. It's very different than the traditional American wedding. For example, the groom side of the family comes to the bride side of the family. There's music, there's food, there's dancing, and they're able to really just enjoy the bride right before she walks down the aisle and really have fun with her and dance with her and really wish her well right before her wedding. And then also at the wedding, they have these scarves that they've made by hand usually, and they dance the bride and groom in when they walk into the reception. So they really don't let them just sit down at the head table. They really dance with them and walk them to their head table. Strange and unusual factors. I've had it where, this is great, the mother-in-law or the mother will actually call a vendor behind the bride's back and try to change something that the bride's put together, and the bride finds out about it and she's not so happy. We've got the grandmother. Sometimes we run into the fun, cool grandmother who isn't afraid to really speak her mind. When it comes to finding the dress, she's very opinionated. You know, and just maybe not agreeing so much with the bride, but that's always fun. They always love her because she's grandma. I notice a lot that really money controls the situation, so what the bride wants and what the parents want, completely different sometimes. I think one of the most stressful parts of planning a wedding, I've noticed even for like a day of wedding, is not necessarily knowing some of the vendors that come into the wedding. Really because if it's a day of wedding, the bride usually booked most of the vendors. So if I'm not able to get in touch with some of the vendors or they're not as responsive, I usually find that to be just a bit stressful. But the good thing is that, you know, I let them know. I don't try to, you know, I try to keep communicating with them until I get a hold of them, and I really let them know I'm there for you, you know, as a shoulder to lean on for the day. So really, you know, the vendor team and I are there to work together to make sure that the bride and groom's day is executed successfully and smoothly. Challenges, there's a few. A bride looks in a magazine and says, I want that. She comes to me and says, Sharokina, this is exactly what I want. Well, what's your budget? About $15,000, $20,000. We can make something work. We can't make those exact flowers work. So it's a challenge, but we're really able to take their idea and figure out why they like something. Is it the color? Is it this particular flower? Maybe we have less, but we put, or maybe it's a different flower, or whatever we can do to really make it work. Another challenge is taking a bride that wants to be a DIY bride, but she really doesn't have a DIY personality. So what she really ends up doing is stressing herself out, and she really just makes these endless projects for herself. So we're really there to step in and say, you know, kind of assess and say, okay, well, you can do this project DIY, but what's the time going to cost you? The ultimate goal in planning a wedding is to keeping the bride and groom on budget, but also the ultimate goal is to give them the realistic budget in the first place. And really be able to see the look on their face when they walk into the ceremony, into the reception hall, and just have that wow factor. Why pick Events by Sharokina? For whose wedding is it anyway? Because we're dynamic, energetic, and passionate about what we do. And we'll really be able to have the brides and grooms relate to us while we're helping them compete and have fun with them for their dream wedding.
And I just want to be able to take their dream design and turn it into reality.
So pick Events by Sharokina. We won't let you down. We'll be a great dynamic to your show. And thank you again so much. We look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much, and goodbye from Chicago.
And thank you again.
Thanks.